the Minister of State within the Ministry of Tourism. In simple terms, your goal is to make sure that the locals benefit from tourism.
Yeah, more.
That's basically.
Of course, of course. What we're doing essentially is that we want to get more money staying here. So we're big on agriculture. We're seeing increased numbers of agricultural produce being produced here going into the hotels. A lot of maintenance is done here, but here's a challenge we're having, which is why we need to train more Jamaicans. We're struggling to find enough persons to maintain air-conditioned units, to maintain kitchen. Why tourism is so heavy is because there's so much going on.
Linkages, that's your strongest point. I think you know everybody in Jamaica. You have a phone number for every person in Jamaica. You were on those boards.
Jamaica Tourist Board, Jampro, the National Insurance Fund.
The Cannabis Licensing Authority. You took some part of
a little story about that. Years ago, I became a part of the Cannabis Law Reform movement in Jamaica.
People are so used to the news of Jamaica being bad. And so when something's good happening, right?
I would not be unfair. I mean, the fact is, give Portia Simpson and Dr. Peter Phillips, the PNP, credit for engaging in some of the tough economic reforms that were required at the time.
A lot of people are complaining about Kingston being built with a lot of apartment complexes and stuff.
And
that's
my
like
constituency is a big deal.
It is a big deal. It is a big deal.
Yeah.
Are you looking into that?
Of course, absolutely. There are some places where, frankly, apartments should not have been built. You have to fight for things in life. I mean, that's all life is. And you have to have a tough skin.
Well, I run a YouTube channel. I get hater comments all the time, right?
So you know it.
Well, now people are going to tell me I'm a sellout. Like, I'm interviewing a politician. Like, that's it. My channel is over. That's it.
No, it's fine.
Jamaican politics is one of the topics I've been deliberately avoiding on my channel. That's because although I've been a resident in Jamaica for 11 years, I'm not a citizen, I cannot vote, and I don't have preferences for any political party. But I support people who contribute to Jamaica in one way or another, regardless of their political views or affiliations. Today, our guest does happen to be a politician. His name is Delano Seiveright, and I've known him in person for the last 4 years. In 2021, just like some other subscribers, he joined our Patreon. You can see his name each time I roll credits with special thanks. And then this year, Mr.Seiveright was promoted to a senator, and then he became a Minister of State in the Ministry of Tourism. Mr.Seiveright happens to be with the JLP, but I would have happily interviewed somebody from the PNP as well. I just don't have years of knowing somebody there yet. But if you are from the PNP, please see my contacts right here. Be my guest. Anyway, this video is not a formal interview with a minister like one might expect, but rather an interesting conversation about what it's like to be a politician in Jamaica. And I've personally learned so much from this conversation, and I hope you do too. Enjoy. I'm all right.
Sorry.
How are you?
How are you?
Great to see you. It's a Sunday. You're supposed to be like getting some rest.
Never.
No rest?
We never rest.
Do you get any days off at all?
No.
You know, I haven't seen you doing many interviews.
I do a couple on TV. National TV.
Right, but I was trying to find them online,
yes.
and I couldn't. I was searching, and you
Sort
don't.
of deliberate, yeah.
Okay.
One of the too many of them, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Mr. Delano Seiveright,
Yes.
welcome, and thank you so much for finding the time to do this. I really appreciate this.
No, it's an honor to be on this program. It's one of my favorite programs on YouTube.
Oh, that's very kind of you. I know that you're quite busy, so we're going to go straight to the point. You are a politician, and you know politicians in many countries, including in Jamaica, are not the most favored people. I mean, in fact, it's like one of the careers that is very difficult to pursue. So why choose such career?
I enjoy public service. I like helping people. I like to be busy. I like to get things done. So I think I just naturally ended up there. When I was in high school, I had, more than a passing interest in politics. And then when I got to university, I really got super interested within the first semester of college. And I got involved in like the youth grouping under the Jamaica Labour Party on campus. And from there, it just went off like this, because I enjoyed writing. I like to, get involved in current affairs. That was my thing.
Well, often people come to politics by accident. Like they're doing something, they study something else, and then they end up in politics because of whatever. In your case, you actually did a degree in political science, and then you also did Master of Science degree in public policy and management, right? So you deliberately, you knew you were going into that. Why? Well, how did that happen?
Certainly when I got to like 5th form in high school, then I got into 6th form, I just found an interest in it. Oddly enough, I wanted to be either a pilot or a meteorologist. I don't know. I ended up doing physics in high school. I hated it. And then I said to myself, I guess the pilot thing is not going to really get off the ground.
Have you tried flying?
No, I didn't try, but it's something I always had a passion for. And then meteorology, but I enjoyed geography and so on. And then I said, let me study political science and then see where it goes. Political science is a good base to start from in the social sciences because you then end up doing law, or you end up doing public policy, or you end up doing management or whatever. So it's a good way to start. So I ended up starting there and I enjoyed it. And then I sort of just got deep into the political process at the university level. I ended up knowing a lot of key people. You end up meeting like the general secretary of your party at the time was Carl Samuda.
Right.
And that's the seat I'm running now,
right.
of course. And I ended up meeting Ed Bartlett, and then quite a number of other persons, the Prime Minister Andrew Holness, who was much younger at the time.
But you're
go through
also,
all of that.
You're also very young. You're super young for a politician.
Yes, that's what they say.
How old are you now?
I'm 41. It's kind of strange because people are like, boy, you've been in politics for quite a long time.
Yeah, right.
And, but you're only like, because I started at 18.
But then being a politician is one of the most ungrateful jobs because no matter what you do, especially if you do something, because if you're a politician and you do nothing, you get criticized. If you do something, you also get criticized because no matter what you do, even if it's the best thing for Jamaica, 90% maybe people are going to be happy, but 10% is not going to be happy. So how do you manage this? What's your attitude to this? Because no matter what you do, still there will be someone who either doesn't understand or understands but has a different vision.
I think when you're in something, if you're passionate, and I'm a bit passionate about certain things, right? Once you know you're doing good and you have a plan of action and you talk to people, get their concerns, get their views, their issues, whatever, and they put that together and you find solutions to these issues and problems, you'll be fine all the time. There are people who are going to complain. There are people who are going to be very upset. There are people who are going to cuss you for no reason at all. I mean, you see that on social media. You go on Twitter, X. You go on Instagram, TikTok. There are just very angry people out there who are just tear you down. And that's okay. It's a part of the democratic process. That's fine. And you have to have a tough skin. It helps to have a tough skin. If you have a tough skin, you'll be fine.
Well, I run a YouTube channel. I get hater comments all the time, right?
So you know it. You know it. The people are just blasting and tearing into you.
It's like, now people are going to tell me I'm a sellout. Like, I'm interviewing a politician. Like, that's it. My channel is over. That's it.
No, it's fine.
But anyway,
Yes.
Now, about JLP. When you joined...
Yes.
Why specifically JLP? Why not PNP?
Yes, it's funny because in high school, some of my friends thought I was going to become a member of the People's National Party. Okay. I went to Calabar High School, which is this really good high school on Reynolds Road in Kingston. And Prime Minister P.J. Patterson, a former Prime Minister of Jamaica, he is a past student of Calabar, and many other senior politicians, many of them retired now, are Calabar past students. So I guess there was an assumption, you're probably going to follow in that path of the P.J. Pattersons and so on. And then I have a last name that's sort of tied to the PNP, the Seiveright name going back. There was a guy who was a minister, William Seiveright, Commodore, who worked with Norman Manley back in the 1950s.
All right.
So people just assumed, I think I'm a distant relative, so people just assumed that was where I'll be going. I remember meeting a former Governor General. I think I was in high school or beginning university at the time, in university. And the former Governor General Howard Cook, who was aligned to the People's National Party, looked at me and said, boy, you look like a PNP, of the 1950s or something.
You look like it. Okay, all right.
So it was kind of funny. But for me, really, it was just reading, getting to understand history, and both parties, they have their faults, right? They contributed to some of the problems in the country. Right. Absolutely no doubt about that. That's true. But when you look at the record of the JLP going back to the 1950s and the 1960s in particular, I was really impressed by just the levels of development planning that existed then under Hugh Shearer, under Donald Sangster, Alexander Bustamante, but Edward Seaga. He was a visionary, so the Kingston waterfront, the Ocho Rios waterfront, the Montego Bay waterfront, the developments, all the key institutions, the Jamaica Stock Exchange, Air Jamaica, many of the development-oriented institutions, the Urban Development Corporation and so on, came from JLP vision.
Okay.
And to me, that sort of captured my imagination, right? And also I tend to be, I guess, a bit closer to center-right, maybe, I'm not sure, but I do believe in running an economy that's fair and that has space. I enjoy the free market, so I think I sort of got tied into that realm of the politics. So I just sort of naturally flowed in that direction. But beyond that, when I got to university in 2003, the PNP was in power like all the time since like 1989.
Right.
So
I see.
clearly there's a need for change, and that change message, that was 14 years in power at the time. We wanted a change, and that change, that mission for change and a new direction and really turning the country on a different path.
So that's where
captured my imagination. Right. Absolutely, yeah.
I noticed that you are very passionate about JLP. I noticed some of the notes you made. No individual is bigger than the party, and no party is bigger than the country, which is okay, great. But from what I see, JLP today is very different from the one that it was like 40 years ago. I find that it's the people that make the difference. And I can say the same about PNP. It's very different today than it used to be. But a lot of Jamaicans have their vision from the back days, the biases as well that they attach. But today the parties are very different. Do you see it as a party collaborative effort, or do you see that every person plays a little role?
I think individuals matter. The fact is, Andrew Holness, who is the leader of the Jamaica Labour Party, is young. He's Prime Minister of Jamaica. When he became Prime Minister in 2011, actually, for a short period of time, after the resignation of former Prime Minister Bruce Golding, he was 39. A lot of people, I believe he was one of, if not the youngest leader in the democratic world, right? So that matters because he understands social media, he understands Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. He's of that mindset, so he's a modernist. And he also believed in sort of modernizing the party itself. And he was a big believer and still is a big believer in discipline. I think what had happened to the JLP for many years before that, it sort of got caught in opposition for quite a while, and there was a lot of infighting and just a lot of issues. He sort of stabilized the party. He fought for leadership. He won fair and square. And then he sort of moved to stabilize the party and run a stable government that is a big believer in public relations, communications, modern campaign practices and techniques and so on. And that helped greatly. It is important for the leader to have that sort of mindset for us to move in a different direction because it matters. Leadership matters.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Now, I just want to tell our audience a little bit about you. I know... Well, when you started supporting my channel, you were, let me read it properly. Your position was Senior Communications Strategist in the Ministry of Tourism.
Correct.
So you were mostly into tourism industry. That's your specialization. So what exactly does that mean, the senior strategist?
So it's interesting how I got there too. Whilst we were in opposition from 2012 to 2016, I ended up being the junior spokesperson for tourism, and I was working with Shahini Robinson at the time, who was passed, and Edmund Bartlett. And I just started developing this passion and interest in tourism. I guess it was just sort of my thing. Life is like that, tourism, international relations, political science, it's all sort of intertwined. And that was a good experience for me. Then we won the election in 2016, worked close with Minister Bartlett. He became Minister of Tourism. He said, let's come to the Ministry of Tourism. And I'm like, okay, great. So I sort of ended up there as a de facto senior advisor to Minister Bartlett. And I learned a tremendous deal from persons like John Lynch, who's chairman of the Jamaica Tourist Board. Butch Stewart was also around. So you pick up things. Of course, Godfrey Dyer, who's like chairman of the Tourism Enhancement Fund. These guys are like scions in tourism. And let me tell you, there's nothing better than having that kind of personal contact with folks like that, because those guys have decades.
But what were you doing? What were you doing?
So I ended up doing communication strategy, and then it sort of morphed into a sort of chief of staff role, which is what happened.
Okay.
So I ended up doing everything.
So what kind of, can you give me a few examples, maybe, if you can remember, like the kind of projects that you pushed forward?
So once we got in, the first thing was, of course, to ensure that the ministry, the vision of the ministry is clear. You know, what are we all here working for? So I worked closely with Minister Bartlett in developing that vision, and he is a great visionary, so it was pretty easy. This is what we're working for. These are our goals. These are our KPIs. One, airlift strategy. We need more planes. We need more seats coming into Jamaica.
Okay.
So we focused on collaborating with airlines as best as we possibly can in the United States, Canada, Europe, and elsewhere. Well, we're Jamaica Tourist Board and JAMVAC and agencies that focus on those things. We help to drive the vision that this is what we want to achieve. Cruise strategy, getting more cruise ships here, ensuring that we have meetings with Royal Caribbean, Carnival Cruise Lines, all the major cruise lines. Encourage them, find ways to work with them to get more ships coming into Jamaica.
I remember
things like that.
With the airline, I remember there was Eurowings, I think, or some TUI flights from Europe.
Yes, of course.
They're like really cheap. I use them myself. You know?
So we worked closely with Jamaica Tourist Board, JAMVAC, which are agencies under the Ministry of Tourism. And it's simple for them. Once you give them the vision, say, guys, can we get a flight out of Poland into Jamaica? Our team in Germany, which is the JTB office, headed by a guy named Gregory Sherrington. So absolutely, let's try that. And he works on that, and the team works, get those things done. Then we come in at the back end, do what we need to do to really get it out there, publicize it, and so on. So it really is public relations, communication, staying in touch with your stakeholders. Your stakeholders are vast in the tourism industry. It's the hoteliers, it's the Airbnbs, it's the attractions, it's the airlines, it's the cruise lines, it's your travel partners in media all over the world. It's your social media stakeholders, it's your visitor, and it's your, most important, your workers in the tourism industry.
Right.
Because if they're unhappy, then your industry is going to fall apart. Why tourism is so heavy is because there's so much going on. There's so much going on.
Too many things to manage.
You're Ukrainian. When that whole issue with Ukraine, Russia came about, that was an issue. You know, how do we now deal with, you know, we had flights from Russia.
I know.
So there's so many moving parts. None whatsoever. And there's so many moving parts in the whole thing. You have to be on top of everything. So you end up, and this is the thing about tourism, and I'll encourage persons to consider a career in tourism or get involved in tourism, because it opens you up to so many different networks. International relations, diplomacy, everything. You're connected with everybody.
Linkages, that's your strongest point. I think you know everybody in Jamaica. You have a phone number for every person in Jamaica. You know YouTubers like me, you have their phone numbers. How did you learn this? Like, is it something you learned, or is it your talent?
I got into it by accident, but I understood what was happening. Just from university days, by virtue of getting active in the politics, I ended up knowing people. So, you know, this politician, that politician. We used to have meetings once per week on campus, and we'll invite politicians in to speak to the student body. And people need to understand, we're not like all raving, lunatic politicians, right? Because a lot of those people who were in these meetings are now in banks, insurance companies, some are in diplomacy. They have their own businesses, they're lawyers, they're doctors, they're engineers, they're pilots, they're everywhere. They all live in normal lives, right? But that connects you with people by virtue of having those meetings on campus. You end up starting knowing a few politicians. Then eventually I transitioned from campus. I went into working directly for the party, for the general secretary. The general secretary is the mitochondria of the party. He's the hub of everything. So you end up knowing a lot more people, and you get a little authority. And then it transitions into knowing a lot of business people, and then a lot of people in social media, and then a lot of people in media. And I have a natural ability to just keep in touch with people and always have a connection.
I noticed that. And what I find
I'm always out and about too.
No, what I find the most incredible is that you remember things. Like, I've known you for 4 years, and we've been like in communication on and off. But it would be like we meet 1 year later for something, and you would remember stuff we spoke about 1 year ago. And you're like, oh, so how's that going? I'm like, how do you even remember that? Like, do you have like memory logs you write?
I have a very big head this is. So there's a lot of storage capacity in there.
But seriously, so it's like a talent or something. Because I run memory logs. I sometimes meet people and I start talking to them. I'm like, how do you remember that?
I think it's natural. But also, I remember going to Calabar, my alma mater, to talk to the students, as part of their mentorship program.
Yeah.
So I spoke to the upper school body of the high school in the chapel. And one of the things that I told them is the importance of networking, knowing people, and sort of get out of your own circle. Sometimes we get stuck in our own little circles of 6, 7 friends.
Yeah.
And it's good to spread out a little bit, get to know more people, and you'll be surprised how far you'll go all over the world. So I end up with this massive Rolodex. If you want something in Tokyo, Japan, I probably know somebody I could put you in touch with. I'm dead serious. If you're going to Beijing, China, I can put you in touch with somebody. If you're going to Germany, I can put you in touch with somebody. And that's good. I know you, so you are my connecting to Ukraine. So, it is what it is.
But I remember when the situation happened in 2022, when the invasion happened with Russia. The Jamaica Tourist Board contacted me.
Correct.
As a Ukrainian, and they had my number.
Yes, of course.
Of course they would have my number. You know me, so you have my number. Yeah. Anyway, So, and it's a good thing because we were able to also assist, just me and the people in Poland and everyone.
Of course,
that was such a...
So keep in touch with people, know people, and just be open. It's amazing to just meet new people, get in touch with them, and you'll be surprised how 10 years down the road that person just crosses your path.
Yes.
And it works out.
Exactly.
Yes.
This year, you were you're the top patron on my channel.
Correct.
And this year, you were promoted to senator, then the minister, and I'm like, do I even keep your name? How do I add now? Senator Delano Seiveright? So now you are the Minister of State within the Ministry of Tourism.
Yeah.
And what's interesting here, I find that your primary focus, let me quote from the website, right? Primary focus is on increasing the linkages between the tourism sector and the wider economy, ensuring that more Jamaicans benefit directly from tourism.
Correct.
In simple terms, your goal is to make sure that the locals benefit from tourism.
Yeah, more.
That's basically.
Of course. So let me tell you. So tourism, just last year alone, for example, Jamaica had over 4.2 million visitors, stopover and cruise. Beyond that, it's about $4 billion plus US dollars in revenues overall. In every country that has tourism, a lot of that money goes in different directions. For Jamaica, about 60% of it goes back to the respect to other countries, business owners and so on. That's just how it is. And it's normal 60%. Actually. About 60%. So the retention has increased. Jamaica's retention is estimated at about 40%. In the past, it was about 20-something percent, got to 30%, now 40%. You want to get to 50%. Preferably.
Okay, my question here, I need to pose into this. When you say 60% goes to, it's not in profits.
No, it's not. No.
Because a lot of people assume that they build a hotel,
profits,
60% all that goes. No, it's buying air conditioners. So can you explain?
I live in Spain. I own a hotel group. I build a hotel in Jamaica. Obviously, I have to pay all the bills and everything. The hotel earns money. I have to buy air conditioning. I have to renovate the rooms. I have to do a lot of things. I have to pay staff. I have to pay my shareholders and my bank the loan that they gave me. So a lot of money goes back to deal with these things. And of course, we have persons who are in the farming space. But what we're doing, essentially, Irina, is that we want to get more money staying here. So we're big on agriculture. Very important. And the good thing is, we're seeing increased numbers of agricultural produce being produced here going into the hotels. That's good. One hotel group indicated to me, this hotel has over 1,000 rooms, that 74% of the food in this hotel is now sourced in Jamaica. So we're getting there. What we have been pressuring our farmers to do is increase your reliability, your consistency, and your quality. It's not easy. It's easier said than done. I mean, I can sit here in a chair in an air-conditioned office and say that I'm in the field. The rain, we had 3 weeks of rain. Just please, give me a break. So I understand that. We need more money going into the construction sector locally. That's a work in progress. We need more money going into the pockets of the workers. When we had those issues with the workers, we've seen increased salaries, increased allowances, increased benefits. But we still have a lot of way to go. Tourism touches everything. I'm going to say it touches finance, it touches banking, it touches agriculture, it touches manufacturing, it touches everything. We want more of that here.
I want servicing industries,
Yes.
like maintenance. A lot of hotel,
Correct.
it's a non-stop maintenance.
Correct.
And I ran an Airbnb with a couple of rooms. You
Yes.
know, that's like nothing. But a huge hotel with so many rooms, it's
Yes.
a non-stop maintenance. And that
Non-stop
maintenance is
maintenance.
done in Jamaica.
A lot of maintenance is done here, but here's a challenge we're having, which is why we need to train more Jamaicans. We're struggling to find enough persons to maintain air-conditioned units, to maintain kitchen equipment,
Well, they're all in the
other
US
technical equipment.
and in Canada.
A lot of people have migrated, a lot of the skill sets are overwhelmed, so the guys who can do it are overwhelmed with work, so they can't keep up. You run a hotel with 1,000 rooms, it needs to be fixed right now. I can't wait for next week to Wednesday when you are available.
Right.
And this is the challenge we're having. So it's a holistic effort across government and the private sector. We have a Jamaica Center for Tourism Innovation, which falls under the Ministry of Tourism. Over 17,000 persons already now certified through that mechanism. So we're certifying, we're qualifying people. Hard Trust NTA is qualifying people, but we have to do it at a faster pace because we're struggling to keep up with the demand.
So what is your specific role in this? Like
Yeah.
what do you do to help
in
that?
a very specific way, it is to link directly. We're now cut out a lot of the bureaucracy, link direct with persons in manufacturing, small, medium, large, link with persons in farming, small, medium, large. We have a great farming program now for the small farmers, where we literally connect a number of them directly with the hotels. We link persons in finance and other spaces directly with the tourism industry.
So
Ground
you reach out to
transportation up, reach out. Literally
out
take
to
up the
them
phone. It's practical
Okay,
stuff. Hey,
okay.
this hotel is coming to Jamaica. You should be on some of the ground transportation. I'm going to connect you with that person. It's all a part of the networking. So we're having issues. What are some of the issues? The language barrier.
Oh,
A Spanish investor is comfortable with the language Spanish.
yeah, okay, I see.
And the Jamaican who speaks English is comfortable with English.
Right, I see.
And I find that to be an issue. So I've been encouraging a lot of folks in the sectors here in Jamaica to, guys, get somebody on your team who speaks fluent Spanish. A number of them have listened. And the ones who have listened, I find to be doing a little better because it eases the communication.
What about Chinese?
Oh.
Do people speak Chinese language? Because a lot of the construction is done by the Chinese.
Well, the tourism space doesn't have that much Chinese involvement,
but the construction.
there are some. I'm
Right.
seeing increasing numbers of Chinese companies coming into the space. Jamaican Chinese, Chinese Jamaican, it's all mixed up now. But that's another thing that's coming. So I've been encouraging persons. The foreign language thing is now very important.
Right.
Learn
do
a
you
little
speak
Spanish. I don't, and I'm going to be honest with you, it's one of my greatest regrets. It's one of my greatest regrets, but I intend for my children to learn at least one. I want them to know Spanish at the very least.
Yeah.
And preferably a little Mandarin at the intermediate level at the very least.
For the world.
I think those three
where the world
languages,
is
for
going,
where we are,
definitely.
English, Spanish, and a Mandarin,
Yeah,
I think
it's
if
a
you
must.
have those, you should be in a good position. I can't have them learn Ukrainian, though. I just think it's too much.
Yeah, the Mandarin and Spanish is good
Yes.
enough. The current elections.
Yes.
Well, I've been here for 11 years.
Yes,
Right?
you have,
So
yeah.
I've seen the administration doing a lot of things. Okay, it's not 10 years yet, it's a little
of
bit less,
course.
but when I came, it was PNP
Yes.
in the administration.
Yes.
And I know they did a lot of good things, right? I know they did this tax reform, and I think it was pressured by IMF for,
Yes.
yeah, but they did a good job, and now we're having this much better. I remember I was registering company in 2014. It was when they were changing the ease of doing business, and I'm not sure if, like, how much of it was, but it was under there.
No, I would not be unfair. The fact is, give Portia Simpson-Miller and Dr. Peter Phillips, the PNP, credit for engaging in some of the tough economic reforms that were required at the time when they were in office. Absolutely. It was tough. It wasn't easy. Dr. Peter Phillips, I believe, had the discipline, and he worked with his teams in the Ministry of Finance and so on to move that program forward. Thankfully, also, Prime Minister P.J. Patterson with Highway 2000.
Right, back in the day, yeah.
Getting that done, I think, was a great idea. And what you're seeing is that we're fair. The JLP is building on some of those successes too. So we have now dramatically expanded the highway expansion program.
You
see
so many
the
roads.
Southern Coastal Highway, the extension of the Highway 2000 all the way to Manchester now. The North-South Road, getting that completed.
St. Thomas?
Fully was done. St. Thomas is done. We have a whole program for the North Coast that's coming coming together too, that we'll see a toll road bypass and a lot of the congestion around the
Lucy
Ocho Rios and all those areas, and
yeah.
also the same for Hanover with Lucy and Hopewell. So that's great, right? And over the years, naturally, the JLP has also had some amazing achievements. The fact is, murders are down 40-something%.
This is this is a problem, though. When people look at it, right?
I know.
People are so used to the news of Jamaica being bad. And so when something's good happening, right? And there are so many things, we can feel them. Like I literally drive to St. Thomas now. I can feel the road. I am paying 15% GCT instead of 16.5%. I can see it. Crime is down by 43%. Further, 43%.
It's a huge deal.
This year. And people are like, but say that to a person who just lost the loved ones and stuff. So they just downplay.
But it's still hundreds of less murders and hundreds of families that are not suffering.
Exactly. But people just try to downplay.
I mean, right? It's a democracy. What I love about Jamaica, we have a phenomenal democracy.
Oh, it's brilliant. Yes,
in 2016, the JLP won by 1 seat and not one military tank was on the road, not one shot was fired. It just transitioned into a new government with 1 seat difference, right? I think that's a powerful thing.
It is. Today, now the election campaign, it's all peaceful. People are walking around. It's all
I see vehicles
positive.
going around with JLP supporters and one PNP supporter in the back. He's like heading somewhere, so he's out for a drive. I think it's just from where the country is coming from, certainly in the 1970s, early 1980s, the toxicity of those times when the country was literally at war. It was literally almost like a civil war.
The violence all the time.
And the politics played a role in that and everything. We have matured completely now. And I'm happy about that. But certainly the work on crime, I think, is phenomenal. The economics, the country's we're doing better economically. The problem is, like any country, like the US, Canada, the UK, my friends are all complaining about the cost of living. That's a huge problem across the board. It's just expensive to live these days. But nobody can deny the fact that we've created 250,000 jobs. We've ensured no new taxes. We've ensured that we've cut taxes on our electricity bills. We've cut GCT overall. We've increased the income tax threshold. And we could go on and on with these achievements.
I want to mention one particular one because I think this administration was very focused on the fiscal policy. It was more about the economy. And that is like most important for any country is to get the economy up.
Have a scale and cut the debt.
But this is the thing. People listen, we have a much lower debt to GDP ratio. And it's under 100, well, it's actually under 70% now. And before it was like 130
it was
something.
130 something.
But people don't understand what it means.
And what I tell people is that because we have cut the debt in half, we were able to purchase over 1,400 police vehicles. Because we have cut the debt in half, we're able to buy new fire trucks. Because we cut the debt in half, we've been able to buy a whole bunch more of garbage trucks to clean up the country because we need to deal with the problems of cleanliness around the country. Because of that, we're able to do the hospital upgrade programs, school upgrade programs, fix the roads, have a Spark program where we're going to rehabilitate 680 roads around the island under Spark. It's because of the debt cut why we can do the water resilience program to fix the water problems in Kingston once and for all, to fix the water problems in Western Jamaica once and for all. That's because we cut the debt, because we have money to spend.
People don't understand where that debt comes from.
Yes.
So that's from the 70s, it's just piled up.
So now that we've got rid of a lot of that debt and we're going to continue to get rid of more, we now have spending power. We don't have to borrow to do some projects. We literally can finance from our own monies that we earn as a people in a country.
The Hurricane Barrel was a good example. You didn't get any support from other countries?
Yes, of course, absolutely.
It was all coming from the fund.
A lot of it was locally here and our catastrophe fund and all these things. So we have done a lot to stabilize the economy, and I think now we're going to get to the next path, which is now really sustained growth. Really get the country growing and get the economy growing at a faster rate, but ensuring that more money flows into the pockets of the ordinary Jamaican.
This is very good, but here's the thing. That's because it's all like complimentary interview now. Let me do the criticism.
Yes, of course.
People are so worried about foreign investors coming, taking over our beaches, taking over. I'm going to do a separate video on the beaches.
Of course.
It's going to be a separate thing. But I do want you to address this. Can you explain from your point of view why Jamaica is allowing foreign investors to come?
No. So foreign investment is critical to the growth of pretty much any economy in the world. If you want your country to turn around and grow at a rapid rate, you look at Singapore, which is a success story. A lot of it is foreign investment. It's a small country the size of St. James. They needed foreign investment to come in. And what it has done is raise Singapore's standard of living to one of the highest in the world. They have I think they have among the most millionaires per capita in the world. Jamaica needs a foreign investment. Now, practically, let's just think about it. An investor comes, he builds a hotel with 1,000 rooms. He's hiring 1,600 persons. That's 1,600 people with jobs earning money per month. Might not be the best salaries ever. It's not, but it's going to get there. Because of that investment, a number of persons are able to buy vehicles to do ground transportation. So there are now taxi drivers or offering ground transport to these stores. That also opens the doors for attractions. You have a little river, you have a little thing going on, you can bring people in. It opens up restaurants because those restaurants need to serve not just the guests, but also the workers who leave work and need to buy some food before they head home. And it filters throughout the economy. So foreign investment, it filters. They come in, yes, they take their profits and so on, but it's also filtering the economy through ground transportation, through your restaurants, through your supermarkets, the corner shop, your grocery store, the barbers, the hairdressers. Everybody is benefiting. And maybe we have failed at properly communicating these things.
Yeah, I think that. I think
what happened, you get distracted with the big investment, but then you don't get distracted with the micro investments happening. And I see it for myself because I know guys who started with they had one vehicle, one Toyota Hiace bus. He now has 6 Toyota Hiace buses running ground transportation all over Jamaica for tourists.
Yeah, right.
He doesn't talk much about how well he's doing. He keeps his mouth shut and he does his business. He bought his house, he's good. And I'm seeing a lot of that around the place, persons who have started businesses out of tourism and out of other foreign investors. And that's a good thing because these people are bringing money and capital into the economy. And it's spreading.
So you've been in tourism industry pretty much all of your professional career.
Yes.
But now you're also going into the elections for the St.Andrew North Central.
Yes, yes.
And I found out about it by accident. I was just walking on the street and I saw your face on a bus. I was like, you never told me. You never told me. And I know it wasn't in the news probably, but I was so busy about doing my farming video, my Rust Kitchen documentary. That just tells you how much I'm into politics, right? My colleague, Throp, recorded an interview with the Prime Minister, and I was doing my farming videos. Okay, anyway. Sorry. But I thought, when I saw your face on that, and it was like...
This is why you're so happy you don't get caught into all the toxicity.
True. It's true. I just don't follow the news. I just don't. It's terrible journalism.
And there's some people who don't, There are quite a number of people who are just completely in a different space.
Because I just don't want this to deal with this. But you've been supporting my channel for so long, and I saw you being... And I'm like, why didn't you even tell me? Like, you never told me. You never reach out to me. So, and I'm like, okay, well, let me reach out and ask you if we can do this. At least my audience would know who one of the person who's been supporting my channel for so long. And you didn't support my channel as a politician.
No, I didn't.
No, you were like...
Just genuinely.
Exactly, it was Jamaica.
COVID, was it COVID?
It was 2021. It was after I did the fake diplomat video. You joined as a patron. Many people joined as a patron.
Let me just speak about that. So I remember just, all of us, I guess COVID got all of us glued into YouTube. Let's just be honest. We all got, I was watching stock market videos. I started trading. COVID just, I think, allowed us all the time to just like refocus our energies. By the way, the stock market thing actually worked out for me. I must
good.
Can you imagine that?
Good.
Can you imagine that?
Good. You can,
anyway,
fantastic.
So let's just put that aside. But I remember seeing this video, this controversy about this fake diplomat, and this guy just tore into the country. And I was just so upset about it because I was like, yes, our country has problems, as do any other country in the world, right? And Jamaica's gotten a bad rap when it comes to crime and these things. So I'm very sensitive about it because it is true that we have a crime problem. We have had it for decades, and now we're finally getting on top of it, where we're actually bringing the murder rates down. Even the U.S. State Department had to acknowledge it and change our travel advisory. And you played a huge role in that, by the way, in terms of your own video on that matter and just explaining it and just literally disentangling the level 3 at the time and so on. But when I saw the thing about the fake diplomat, I saw your rebuttal. I was like, this is... And I shared it with everybody. I'm like, you need to see it. I shared it with my mom. I shared it with my sister because I was getting this thing from all my friends and family overseas. And it was annoying me. And then I said, who is this person? And then I just started watching all their videos. And I just got glued to it. I was like, I need to support this channel.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate appreciate all your support during these years. It's like
yes,
brilliant.
of course.
But now, right, you've become a minister of state, and now you're in the election for St.Andrew North Central. So how did that happen?
But so it's wow. I mean, I knew Carl Samuda for years, as you know, because he was GenSec back in the day. One of my favorite people in politics, and he's a phenomenal political strategist, and also possibly one of the longest serving parliamentarians in the world. He started in 1980 as an MP.
Really?
Yes. 45 years in office. He's in his mid-80s, and tough guy. 45 years in office, serious fella. I mean, in terms of learning, in terms of where we got our strength from, a lot of us as young folks in the politics, it's from him because he was a tough general secretary. Like, he doesn't play, right? So say that. But 45 years, he even at one point, there was a little falling out in the politics. He switched to a different political party, the PNP, and he won his seat still under the PNP, which was just absolutely phenomenal, right? That just doesn't happen.
Right.
But learning from him, Mrs. Pauline Samuda, his wife, and everybody else, I was encouraged by the constituents. And I said, why don't you run for North Central? You know, Mr. Samuda, you know a lot of us. Well, a lot of us remember you from G2K when you were president and so on. So I went to Calabar High School, which is in the constituency. I know a lot of people, and everybody was just encouraging me to do it, and it ended up happening, you know. And there were some issues.
Yeah, I heard yesterday when I was preparing the questions, I was like, there was some. What was happening there?
There's another person who was interested, and it just got a bit untidy. It's an internal democracy. The JLP, like any democratic party, has its processes. There are other persons who want the seat too, and that's okay. That's a democracy. I don't expect to go in and see just get it. You have to fight for things in life. I mean, that's what life is. You don't get things on a platter.
But you go back.
I did. So I had to temporarily suspend the campaign for like about 2 weeks, and the party got itself together, and the party wanted to respect the wishes of the party leadership, who said, listen, this is getting a little bit too toxic. Let's just quiet things down. And it quieted down. We resolved it. And
I saw people coming
people literally get what they want. There were some
protests
protests and that sort of stuff, but it was resolved. It was resolved amicably, and I'm good with everybody. And it is what it is. It's a democracy.
So what are you planning to do? What are you planning to do as if you win this election?
So big plans for St.Andrew North Central. We're going to build on the legacy one of Carl Samuda. I mean, the mere fact that he's there for 45 years, being re-elected over and over and over, even when he switched parties and came back.
Okay, all right.
It means he had to be doing something right.
Okay.
So we're going to build on that legacy. So I'm working closer with the Samuda family to maintain that legacy, but also to build on it. Among our big plans is a Manor Park redevelopment program. I'm going to be working with the private sector. So I spoke to the owners of the Manor Park Plazas, which is the Panjam Group, one of the largest companies in Jamaica and the Caribbean. They're going to work with us as government to fix up the bus terminus / vending zone right there in the middle of Manor Park. We want to build gazebos, build proper public sanitation there, get a proper bus stop for folks there waiting, because people tell me they're in the sun. It's ridiculous with no seating. I want to resolve these issues. We want to put some nice gardening, palm trees and so on around. Then I have Riddles Road, which is a section of it is in my seat. And we want a lot of the best jerk chicken vendors and jerk pork vendors are along that stretch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, all the pan chicken vendors and so on. They're all right there. And then also general beautification on Manningsville Road, Cassava Peace. And we have a lot of communities in there. It's an interesting seat where it has rich areas, middle class areas, and lower income areas, communities in need of transformation. So the Park Lane, 100 Lane, all these places are in need of transformation. And we've been doing work in these places already, back to school treats, youth club development programs, job creation programs, etc. So it's a lot of work.
I need to know about the, you know that a lot of people are complaining about Kingston being built with a lot of apartment complexes and stuff. That's like a huge...
It's a big deal.
It is a big deal. It is a big deal because our sewage system, our water system is getting a heavy load.
Yes, of course.
Are you looking into that?
Of course, absolutely. I actually had a meeting with residents of the Pigeon Valley area. It's a lovely community in the Stony Hill suburbs, right? a lot of really prominent residents there, and we met with them, and I said to them clearly, and I made it public, that we're going to be working with the KCC, the Municipal Corporation, NEPA, and other state entities, but also residents and citizens of these communities to get better and more holistic planning in place. There are some places where, frankly, apartments should not have been built. That's just my honest opinion.
That's the thing. So how
it's
do they
ruining
get
the character of some of the communities. It is. So I told the residents very clearly, and I've done it multiple times, I'm going to work with you in lobbying, whatever legal support you need, whatever. I'm working with you to restrict some of these developments in some of these communities, whilst at the same time understanding that we do need apartments, we do need condominiums, we do need that, but it needs to be done in a better, more organized fashion.
Well,
no, it's also a sign to, and I want people to know it. It shows that the country is growing. Like, it shows that your economy is turning the corner. People actually investing into commercial real estate, residential real estate, and so on. So it's a good thing too, but also not good when it ruins the character of some of these communities.
They call it like gentrification. That there's rich people going to come, going to mess up the thing, the price is going up, and all of that. But there is a lot of the housing schemes are being built for lower income people as well.
The problem is that the housing and the Prime Minister is very committed to really bringing down the cost of housing. Even the NHT, the National Housing Trust, has certain caps in place to encourage developers to build within a certain price point. And of course, as you know, NHT in Jamaica, Jamaicans benefit from NHT. Once you're employed and so on, you get money towards your house, essentially, as part of a low interest mortgage, etc. That's something that they're expediting. I believe thousands of houses have been built, but we still need many, many, many thousand more. And we want to encourage private developers to find more innovative solutions to bring down the cost of housing.
Specifically in the area, the constituency where you are now going. Is there any affordable housing in that area, or is it like mostly?
So what we have is, we have communities in need of transformation.
Okay.
What we call inner city communities.
Okay.
Where housing would be affordable, but a lot of it is informal. So we need to formalize those arrangements. So I have a big land titling program, and I'm going to get retired persons in those fields to assist us in resolving some of those issues. Because this is why you have crime and violence, conflicts over my house here, come back for it, that kind of thing. And they need to develop the infrastructure in these communities. But beyond that, a lot of the seat is also middle class and upper middle class and upper class. So it's expensive. It's expensive housing. It's Norbrook, Waterworks, Manor Park, and Armour Heights, and so on. But what we need is more holistic planning, because I believe these communities that are in need of transformation are properly located. They are some of the best in terms of location.
Yeah, it's a very nice location.
Of course, it's where you want to live. Can you imagine if we really bring crime down even further?
It is
and
good
then
now.
get private developers to come in and say, do me a favor, let's start developing here and build apartments there. And nice apartments at reasonable prices. I believe it can happen, and I want to see it happen.
The elections are on the 3rd of September, right?
Yes, it's our general election. We have 63 constituencies, and each of them, you will vote for your MP on September 3rd.
Just to say something that I noticed, I haven't known you for over 4 years now. You are very energetic and very active person.
My life is in my phone, actually. I mean, it's all there.
You get in 600 messages a day, and then I don't
It's
know how you manage
difficult
to reply to everyone, and then you're just managing this and this.
It's a huge problem.
I want to say, you are also on the board of the Jump Pro,
the
board of JTB, the TPD Co.
So upon becoming Minister of State, I had to vacate those boards.
Oh, you vacated them
by
now.
law. I had to vacate those boards.
But you were on those
Jamaica
boards.
Tourist Board, Jump Pro, the National Insurance Fund,
the Cannabis Licensing Authority. You took some part in that.
A little story about that. Years ago, I became a part of the Cannabis Law Reform movement in Jamaica. And we were able to work JLP, PNP, civil society, and even the current leader of the opposition, Mark Golden, was Minister of Justice at the time, and he was one who piloted the legislation in at that time to decriminalize ganja and to address issues with criminal records and so on. So it was a truly I enjoyed that experience because I worked with Rastafari, I worked with academia, I worked with the PNP, Paul Burke and others were very active then, myself in the JLP, some of my JLP colleagues and so on, Mike Henry and others who believed in that, and Delroy Chuck. And also, of course, business community and other persons, and of course, international stakeholders. So again, networking. So I was able to go, I ended up going to Colorado a couple of times because I'll be meeting people there, because remember, Colorado was at the forefront of cannabis law reform in the United States. So you end up meeting people from California, Colorado, all these places, and it was a really good movement, and it felt really good getting that done.
And it worked. You decriminalized this. I mean, it's still not fully, though. It's still not fully.
Still not where we ultimately want it to be, in my mind, but we've made significant progress.
Certainly,
because we have decriminalized for scientific, therapeutic, and medical purposes.
So you were on the board of the Cannabis Licensing Authority,
correct,
right? But you're not anymore.
So that came, and that came out of the reform process. So as part of the 2015 legislation at the time, the Cannabis Licensing Authority was established, and then, of course, the GLP-1 in 2016. So I just naturally, of course, ended up on that board.
I see.
And we built out the Cannabis Licensing Authority into really a modern organization. What it needs is just more legal and legislative support to really crank the industry to where we want it to be.
Okay, but now you're not on
so
any
I'm
of those boards. You have to,
because becoming Minister of State and a Senator, Senator and Minister of State, you have to automatically demit.
But now you have tons of other things to look into. How do you find the time? My main question, right? I'm busy, okay? I'm busy. I have family, I have this. It's very difficult to find time to do anything. How do you manage to multitask so much and still bring results?
It's difficult, and the truth is, being in politics and being so busy does cause a problem with family time. Absolutely no doubt about that. It is true. As I leave, I'm going to be having a lunch with my kids, get pizza and whatever. And then I have to run on a Sunday. Then I have to run now to some back to school treats at 2 p.m. So you have to manage your time carefully. It is a huge problem, I must admit to you. And a lot of the folks who are older in politics and so on warn about it. They say, listen, if there's one regret I have, is that my family time was cramped by virtue of being so busy and so active. And it's a sacrifice. I think people should know this. People in politics and public life sacrifice a lot. So my partner manages well. Everybody does their best to manage as best as they possibly can.
But okay, even if you did not have personal life and even just doing the things you're doing, like running here, running there, running for the interview on Sunday with a YouTuber, like doing all of these things and still finding time?
Yes. It's difficult.
How? Is it time management strategy, special strategy you've developed, or how does that work?
I think one of the ways to do it too, which I have started to do, is integrate your family into your activities too. COVID gave me that, actually opened the door for that, because when COVID was going on, of course, school was out. So what I did, I would bring Bryson to my office, and he'll do his classes from office. And I thought that was a good idea to kind of still have that interaction, but have your kid there and whatever. So you have to learn to integrate where possible family into some of your day-to-day activities.
But how do you manage professional activities so that you do both? Like you have to fly to Germany, you have to fly to Colorado,
so that's a drain. And I'm telling you, being in tourism and having to travel so much does take away a lot. No doubt about it. Absolutely.
Any tips on time management?
Do to-do lists.
You do?
So so I have a to-do list every morning, and people find it quite annoying. Why? Because every day I have a to-do list, right? And I have it from like 5:30, 6 in the morning. In order to enhance my efficiency, I preload. I know this sounds crazy. I literally preload all my messages that I need to send out to like 40 key persons in the morning, right? And then I'll put my phone, but I have to put my phone on airplane mode, right? Because the phone I can't focus.
I know.
So I just say, okay, airplane mode. I do up the messages either the night before or early in the morning when I get up. Then I put them on, and then at 7 a.m. I take off the airplane mode, and all the messages go out at the same time.
Oh, wow. This is so cool. I never thought of that.
It enhances efficiency. And some of them are Delano, you need to stop. And then I have assistants, right? I have an executive assistant, I have a personal assistant who then do follow-ups for me based on those, on every item on my to-do list. I'll say, okay, you just stay on top of this person for the entire day, because there's some people who are just not responsive, but you have to do to-do lists. It helps to structure everything and keep everything in balance, because you have the tourism portfolio issues, which is a lot and extremely heavy. And these are busy people too. and some of them are in different jurisdictions, different countries, different time zones. Then you have your political responsibilities. Then you have your family-related matters. You need to ensure school fees are paid, stuff like that. Forget stuff like that. Then you have your utility bills.
Do you go to shop?
Have a to-do list. I've stopped. I haven't done it in a while. That's taken care of.
No time for this.
But you have to work on your efficiencies, and I find the to-do list for me have been very helpful in keeping me together. So even sometimes Irina is on when I have to follow up something with Irina, I put Irina. Follow up X.
Where do you get the energy?
Yeah, that's a good question. I just think it's just natural for me.
Yeah, you think you're just more like, because
moving.
you're super energetic. Like, I'm a very energetic person. I'm always like hustling around.
So some people think I have ADHD because I'm kind of like, I move around a lot.
Okay.
And then if I'm not doing something or I seem to have a lot of too much of a quiet time, I start to get a bit frantic. Like I just want to do something. I just can't stay still.
Well, a lot of this stuff is going behind the scenes. It's not being published. And like you said, I think Jamaican government in general, both parties, I think they're lacking this proper communication to the public as to what they exactly do.
Correct. There's so many moving parts. For example, you will have a situation where we have a couple dozen people who planned a wedding in Jamaica and they're coming from a certain Eastern European country that requires a visa, and nobody knew that a visa was required, and you have to get all these passports and figure out this problem and be in touch with the Foreign Affairs Ministry, our Passport Immigration Citizenship Agency, the airline, everybody to resolve these issues overnight.
Oh God. So you're doing it behind the scenes. Nobody ever knows about that.
Nobody knows that. And then we have teams behind the scenes in the Jamaica Tourist Board and other government entities who have to be running around in the middle of the night. I'll have a situation where you have a top-end celebrity who just flies in on a private jet with meat and all sorts of things on the plane because they need a certain cut of the meat and only their chef can do, so they fly their chef in and not knowing that these things need to be cleared and declared and so on. These are little crises that we have to be dealing with all the time. It's unbelievable. I
would like to thank you so much for finding the time. I know how busy you are, and sorry this is last minute.
I know, yes.
I mean, I should have done it in April or something.
Yes,
but,
it is.
But
happy to be on. I mean, I'm really
thank you so much.
Enjoy the channel and the issues that you even like going through, the cost of living in Jamaica and where to live. And so a lot of expats who are coming to Jamaica, I know for a fact, watch your channel for tidbits on what to do when coming to Jamaica. And also, interestingly enough, quite a number of people in the diaspora who have lived abroad in the United States or Canada or the UK for decades.
Yeah.
And they're on your channel watching to get tidbits as to, what to do, where in Kingston they should live, the supermarket situation, that kind of thing. It's interesting how important that is for a lot of people, right?
It is. And I've met people who relocated back to Jamaica. They came back, like the diaspora.
Yes.
Got back to think, big up the Jamaican diaspora.
Yeah, we're seeing more Jamaicans who are like actually investing here too, which I'm so happy about. And unfortunately, that's also causing an issue with the pricing of housing.
Yeah, right.
Because, remember people in New York who have lived there for decades. They have a house in New York. It's now valued $1 million plus US dollars, or nearly $2 million US in Brooklyn and these places. So they can afford to come here and buy an apartment for $500,000 US dollars.
Right.
And this is what has been happening.
Right, yeah.
So eventually, I'm sure we're going to figure.
Jamaicans. No, but they're coming.
It's a part of the
investing.
success story. It's one of those. This is the consequence. Some of the consequences of growth and development.
Well,
but we'll iron it out over time, I'm sure. But it's better to be growing.
Exactly, that's what I think. Mr.Seiveright, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for finding the time for this. I really appreciate.
Absolutely.
And thank you for all your support to the channel over these years as a Jamaican.
Yes, and please continue to support the channel and continue to do the good that you do.
Thank you.
Good. Great.
That's it, I think.
My phone is going to explode now.